She walked into his life like a gust of wind, stirring up everything in her path. He was just a regular guy, going about his day, but the moment he saw her, he knew that his life would never be the same again. At first, he tried to ignore her. He had too much going on in his life to deal with the chaos that she brought with her, but the more he tried to resist her, the more she pulled him in. She was unlike anyone he had ever met. She was bold, confident, and unapologetic about who she was. She didn't care what anyone thought of her, and that was what drew him to her. Their relationship was twisted from the start. They fought constantly, argued about everything, but somehow, they couldn't stay away from each other. There was a spark between them, a connection that they both felt, even though they couldn't explain it. They spent their days exploring the city, trying new restaurants, and taking long walks through the park. They talked for hours, about everything and nothing. They shared their hopes, their dreams, their fears, and their secrets. They were each other's confidant, the one person they could trust with their deepest thoughts and emotions. But their relationship was also tumultuous. They fought over the smallest things, sometimes going days without speaking to each other. They both had their own insecurities and issues, and they often took them out on each other. Their friends and family didn't understand their relationship. They didn't understand why they stayed together, why they put up with the constant drama and chaos. But to them, it was worth it. They loved each other, even though they couldn't express it in the traditional sense. As time went on, their relationship became even more twisted. They started seeing other people, but they always came back to each other. They couldn't let go of the bond that they shared, no matter how much they tried. In the end, their relationship ended as abruptly as it began. One day, she just disappeared, leaving him with a void that he could never fill. He never found out what happened to her, but he never forgot her. She had changed his life forever, and even though their relationship was twisted and chaotic, it was also the most beautiful thing he had ever experienced. He tried to move on, but he couldn't. He missed her every day, even though he knew that their relationship was not healthy. He felt guilty for the way they had treated each other, and he wished that he could have done things differently. Years went by, and he thought that he had finally let go of her. He met someone else. Someone who was stable and kind, but he could never love her the way he had loved the other woman. He knew that he was comparing the two, and it was not fair, but he couldn't help it. Then, one day, out of nowhere, she came back into his life. He saw her on the street, and he couldn't believe his eyes. She looked different, but he recognized her immediately. She was with someone else, and he felt a pain of jealousy in his heart. He didn't know what to do. Should he approach her or should he ignore her and walk away? He felt like he was being torn in two, but he knew that he had to face her. He walked up to her, and they looked at each other for a long time. They didn't say anything at first, but then she spoke. "I'm sorry," she said, and he could see the pain in her eyes. He didn't know what to say, but he knew that he had forgiven her a long time ago. They talked for a while, catching up on old times. They both had moved on with their lives, but they still held a special place in each other's hearts. As they said goodbye, he realized that their relationship was still twisted, but it was also beautiful. It had shaped him into the person he was today, and he knew that he would never forget her. He walked away, feeling a sense of closure. He knew that he had finally let go of the past, and he was ready to move on with his life. He felt grateful for their twisted but beautiful relationship, and he knew that it would always be a part of him. In the following days, he couldn't stop thinking about her. The memories of their time together flooded his mind, and he wondered what could have been if they had done things differently. He knew that he couldn't dwell on the past, but he also knew that he needed to confront his feelings. He decided to write her a letter, expressing everything that he had been feeling since they had seen each other. He poured his heart and soul into the letter, telling her how much he still loved her and how much he regretted the way they had treated each other in the past. He didn't know if he would ever send the letter, but he felt a sense of release just by writing it. Days turned into weeks, and he didn't hear from her. He wondered if she had received the letter, or if she even read it. He tried to push the thoughts from his mind, but he couldn't help but wonder what she was thinking. Then, one day, he received a letter in the mail. It was from her. He could hardly contain his excitement as he opened the letter and began to read. In the letter, she told him how much his words had meant to her. She told him that she had regretted the way they had treated each other, and that she had never stopped thinking about him. She told him that she loved him too, and that she wished they could start over. He was overwhelmed with emotion as he read the letter. He didn't know what to do, but he knew that he had to see her. He called her, and they made plans to meet up. They met at a coffee shop, and as soon as he saw her, he knew that he had made the right decision. They talked for hours, catching up on everything that had happened in their lives. They both had changed, but they still felt the same spark between them. As they said goodbye, they both knew that they wanted to try again. They knew that their relationship would still be twisted, but they also knew that it was beautiful. They had learned from their mistakes, and they were ready to face whatever the future held for them. From that day on, they started a new chapter in their lives. They knew that their relationship would never be perfect, but they were willing to work on it. They knew that they had a long way to go, but they also knew that they had each other, and that was all that mattered. Over time, they slowly started to rebuild their relationship. They went on dates, took walks in the park, and shared their hopes and dreams with each other. They were patient with each other, understanding that trust and love couldn't be built overnight. As they spent more time together, they realized that their twisted relationship had made them stronger. They had been through so much together, and they knew that they could handle anything that life threw at them. However, they also knew that their relationship would always be a work in progress. They had to continue to communicate, be honest with each other, and work through any problems that arose. Despite the challenges, they were happier than they had ever been. They knew that they were lucky to have found each other again, and they cherished every moment they spent together. Their relationship wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful in its imperfection. They had learned to love each other despite their flaws and mistakes. They had learned to appreciate each other's quirks and idiosyncrasies. As they looked back on their journey, they realized that their twisted but beautiful relationship was a testament to the power of love and forgiveness. They knew that they would never forget the past, but they were ready to move forward and create a new future together. Their relationship was still a work in progress, but they were excited to see where it would take them. They were determined to make it work, no matter what challenges lay ahead. In the end, their twisted but beautiful relationship was a reminder that love wasn't always easy, but it was always worth it.